Corporation for Public Broadcasting proudly presents Adventures from the Bible with Mrs. Macgruber.
Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Mrs. Macgruber, and welcome back to Adventures from the Bible. We thought we'd do something a little bit different in these next few weeks, and we decided we would take fan mail from you kids and hear what you wanted to hear in today's story time. And this first letter comes from Seth Crosby from Nashville, Tennessee. And Seth says, "Dear Mrs. Macgruber," he spelled my name wrong, isn't that cute? He says, "I would like to hear the story about Adam and Eve and the serpent. Can you please tell that story on your show?" Well, guess what, Seth Crosby from Nashville, Tennessee? We're going to tell that story right now. And it all starts in a beautiful place called the Garden of Eden. You see, there were lakes and flowers and birds and bears and men in the clouds. And this is where two people lived. Their names were Eve and Adam. And they had these beautiful tailored coats made out of badger hair and bear fur. And they think they got them on sale at JCPenney's. And they were living and they were living in the garden and having great times. And then one night, Eve cooked some dinner and she said, "Honey, I made the dinner. Can you please wash the dishes?" And Adam said, "Well, I have to go name more animals out in the wild." And so he left. And then Eve said, "Fine, I don't want to be here anymore because you made me mad and I hate you." And so she left. And she went walking through the garden until she came to a beautiful tree. And in that beautiful tree, she found a silly serpent. Now, serpent is just a name for snake, so we're going to call him a silly snake from now on. And this silly snake said, "Hey, Eve." And then Eve said, "Hi, silly serpent, what can I do for you?" And he says, "You can't do anything for me, but I can do something for you." And he said, "I have something here that'll make you the smartest girl ever." And she said, "Okay, what is it?" And he said, "It's this." And he gave her an apple. He said, "If you eat this apple, you'll be super smart. Because as the saying goes, an apple a day keeps the teacher away because you're super smart after eating apples." And so Eve ate the apple. She said, "Nom, nom, 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 nom." And she ate the apple, and it was good. And then she said, "Silly serpent, I don't feel any smarter. What else do you have?" He said, "Okay, well, how about this bowl of rice?" And she said, "Okay, what else?" And he said, "You know what? How about a fish to go in the bowl of rice to eat on top of it?" She said, "What else do you have?" He said, "You know what? How about a little squirrel to put on top of the bowl of rice?" And so what happened is Eve and the silly serpent sat down and they had a picnic. And they ate all their food and it was good and it was delicious and they had a great day. And then all of a sudden, Adam came back. And he was so sad that he had made Eve mad. And so he said, "Honey, I took and I went and washed the dishes, and then we had leftover salad, so I made you a brand new salad shirt. And I made me a new salad shirt too." And so then they gave Adam an apple, and they let him eat the fish and the squirrels and everything else. And then they all ate, and they had a wonderful, wonderful meal until Adam and Eve, they died because the apple was poison, and the silly serpent laughed. Now that is the story of Adam and Eve and the silly serpent. And so, boys and girls, and Mr. Seth Crosby in Nashville, Tennessee, the point of the story is if you ever see a silly talking serpent in a tree, you sit down, you have a picnic with him in the garden, but you don't eat the apples because the apples are poisonous. So, join us next time, boys and girls, for more Adventures from the Bible with me, Mrs. Macgruber, as we read another letter from you kids and tell a brand new story next week. Bye-bye.